next writing will be called Coquinas. I can't imagine the number of times I've been there. Visiting Florida, Christmas with my parents, a plastic tree decorated with sand dollars and red ribbons. Eating Christmas dinner, listening to Johnny Mathis. And after the Irish coffee, father with his brandy snifter in hand, mother and the other girls putting away the dishes. The carolers would come, walking in front of our home, singing, "We wish you a Merry Christmas," over and over again. We would walk outside, and the cool breeze almost felt like Christmas after the hot, humid days. And we would stand on our driveway, smile and nod. You could see down the road all the candles in paper bags lining the street. And for a few lights, the bag burned. And we would take boat rides off the coast, my parents and their friends, to a tiny island. Dad drinking beer, sometimes steering the boat, control, and the women sitting together in the shade, worrying about their hair. I would sit in the front, sunglasses, swimsuit, and sunburn, feeling the wind slapping me in the face. And turning my head away from the boat, into the wind, away from them. To face it again. Docking at a shoreline, everyone jumping out, little bags in their hands. The women go looking for shells. The men go barbecue. After an hour or two, the sandwiches, potato chips eaten, the soda and beer almost gone, we turn around and head back. We have conquered. And I remember the coquinas, the little shells. You could find them alive on the beaches north of the pier in Naples. Going to the beach, I would look for a spot to find them. They were all my own. But they burrowed their way down into the sand to avoid the light, worming their way away from me. I unearthed a group of coquinas once, fascinated with the color of their shells, the way they moved, before they could hide. I collected them in a jar, took them home with me. What did you teach me? What have you taught me to do? Is this it? Is this what it has become? Is this what has become of you, of me, of us? And I took them home. I added salt water and sand, but I couldn't feed them. I realized soon that they would die. So I left them. It reminded me of Oahu in 2001. It was the 60th anniversary of the day that lived in infamy, when over the USS Arizona I could only photograph with my mind the flowers I saw dropped from another another survivor that floated along the water, breaking the tension of the oil still rising from that sunken battleship. My face was ashen, as everything, too, still broke the reflection of the sun. Lake poem. How many times do I have to travel around the sun, spinning, moving away? How much time will pass for you to see that you cannot burn me? Have these little thoughts in your head and they're going to be short enough, 140 characters or fewer, try to come up with Twitter-like poems. So that was my Twitter-like poem today. This doesn't relate to sun or sand or anything. I just wrote this last night. We'll see how it goes. This is called Update 2011 on The Man Who Loved Me. It's approaching the anniversary since you died. But the anniversary of the date we started dating is closer. And though we dated, I never got too close because I knew you'd pass away at an early age. Though I didn't know it would be that early. I never got too close. You told me you loved me, and I think I hurt you when I said I couldn't reciprocate. I think I felt the way you did, but I couldn't take that final leap. But I remember how you said you loved me, and then you would break up with me. It wouldn't break my heart, of course. It'd piss me off when I knew I was better than you, and you had the audacity to break up with me. But it's approaching that anniversary now, and all I wonder now is how many chemicals they used in you to preserve you before they buried you. And I wonder how well your flesh had held up after you started to decompose. I'm sorry. I don't want to think of you decomposing, but I don't want to think of you as dead. So, do I need an update? Or do I need these reminders as it approaches our anniversary? You sound awesome.
Thanks.
This was a funny one to me. Because all my life I've never, and now even as a vegetarian, but all my life I've never had a Chicago hot dog. Never did. There are some towns known for their food. New Orleans has its po' boy. Philadelphia has its Philly cheesesteak. And if you're in New York and you want to carry food out on a street, you better get a pizza slice, fold it in half, and eat it with one hand. And if you're in Chicago and you can't eat a deep dish pizza with one hand in the street, you better get a Chicago-style hot dog with yellow mustard, relish, the bright green kind, hot peppers, tomatoes, onions, relish, celery, salt, and a pickle on top. I lived in Chicago all my life, frequented the tops of skyscrapers, visited legendary blues bars. But even when I was a meat eater, I never had a Chicago hot dog. just ketchup, please. And I'll take that pickle on the side. And I don't even like hot peppers. But as we left the planetarium today, I passed a Chicago-style hot dog vendor cart, and they listed vegetarian hot dogs as a choice for the Chicago hot dog. I passed it, and I stopped, walked back, and asked for a vegetarian hot dog with everything except the hot peppers. And no, ketchup is not included when you say everything. And when I got my paper-wrapped vegetarian Chicago hot dog, I was tempted to pull that pickle away, and then they had to remind me, no, that's a part of the Chicago hot dog. So I put it all together, took a bite, then I took another, and another, and I thought, I've been missing out on this fantastic Chicago tradition all my life. I've heard the Chicago hot dog was started during the Depression because it was something cheap, and you could sell it in the streets. And it was a full meal. Meat, bread, vegetables, all at a reasonable price. And I thought, the Chicago's had it all figured out. Curry deep dish pizza would have time to sit down and eat a simple bread, as well as a way to make any hot dog taste awesome when you want to treat on the streets. I'm just gonna be like, you're awesome, I have to tell you. More soundboard, nature sounding. This is called I'm Sure We Killed It. Sound. On the Galapagos Islands, new species of animals develop to accommodate their immediate surroundings, and everything fits with nature. Think of the trees around the world. There seems to be a tree for the needs of any animal. The eucalyptus and the koala bear, woodpeckers make holes in trees. We even think of the leaping and traversing of monkeys in the trees, or that even certain dead grasses are needed for locusts. Animals thrive around trees to produce food that they can eat. It seems that in nature, every tree has its niche. Every tree seems to have its animal, and everything fills its need. Unlike other animals, we humans don't have a single tree. We cut them down for buildings and heating our homes. We cut down rainforests to plant more orange groves. You know, so our orange juice can taste worse but cost less. We cherish some for foods that they grow, but destroy others. We're destroying our rainforests to counteract the human effects on global warming. We destroy the rainforests that possibly possess the natural cures for diseases that help us kill ourselves. Maybe that's what we get. And maybe there once was a single tree for humans. I'm sure we killed it. Cheers if you want to sit this way. We have a tent all set up. This one is a funny one called Elephants Carry the World. Elephants carry the world in a line, in a chain. They walk, hold up the earth. And I remember sitting in the passenger seat with you, driving down the road, and two elephants started walking down the street in front of us. Slow down. Get out of the way, I thought. And as you started to pull over, I looked at you in a panic, and I said, I don't have my camera with me. And you pulled over, and the two elephants, one much larger than the other, started walking across the street, and stopped right on the sidewalk and not 3 feet in front of us. We both just sat there in shock and awe until I watched a man from a building across the street come running toward us, slowing down and stopping at the ledge between us and the elephants. He placed some hard-wrapped candies on the ledge and said to the elephants, I thought you might like these. And then he slowly backed away. And all I could think was, how are they supposed to open candies wrapped in plastic like this? It's not like they have opposable thumbs. When you heard my thoughts, you said, elephants are highly intelligent creatures. And I thought, they carry the world, you know. And then I looked over and saw these 2 elephants get on large tricycles and just start to ride away. I have to say that this was a poem that I wrote right before I jumped out of an airplane. There's somebody's like, hey, you're a poet, write something. And after I read it, he said, you know, it could be about anything big, like a wedding day or any sort of big thing. I went, all right, well, here's a short piece I wrote called Falling from the Sky. I'm taking a one-way flight today. And you know, when people say they have a one-way ticket, you assume the plane is landing them somewhere and not flying them back. But lucky me, my only way back is to jump out of the sky and hope I can land on my own 2 feet. And my flight takes off in just a little while, and I can feel that tension knot that is just building there and growing there. And that rope, that knot's rope, is being pulled by all my nerves. And like it was heartburn, I want to slam my fist into my chest and try to make that pain go away. So I've spent all my life trying to soar so high. But I guess I have to be prepared for coming back to Earth. Thank you, Peter. bicycle paths, trash cans every 50 feet, trash every 10. And then a raccoon came right up to me. She had a few little baby raccoons following her. It was so cute. I wish I had my camera. And she walked right up to me. She came right up to me and she spoke to me. And she said, "Thank you. And thank you for not buying furs you humans are pretty smart. You have to be able to figure out a way to keep yourselves warm without killing me. And I said, you know they don't do it for warmth. They do it for fashion. They do it for power. And she said, I know, but thank you anyway. Then I walked a little further, and there was this little stray cat. She still had a little neon collar on with a little bell. She walked a few feet, stretched her front paws. Oh, she looked so darling. And then she came right up to me, and she said, thank you. And I said, for what? And she just looked at me for a moment, where her little ears were standing straight up. And she said, in some countries, I'm considered a delicacy. And I said, how do you know of these things? And she said, when somebody eats one of you, word gets around. And then she just looked at me for a moment and she said, and in some countries, cow is sacred. Wouldn't you, they love to see how you humans prepare them for slaughter, how you hang them upside down and slit their throats so they're still beating hearts will drain out all the blood for you. She said, isn't it funny how arbitrary your decision to eat meat is? And I said, don't put me in that category, I don't eat meat. And she said, I know. And I walked deeper into the forest, managed to get away from the picnic tables and the outhouses that line the forest edges. The roaring cars gave way to the rustling of tree branches, crackling of fallen leaves under my step. When the wind tunneled through, the wind whistled and sang as it flew past the bark and leaves. I walked, listened to the crack of dead branches under my feet, and I felt a branch against my shoulder. I looked, and I could hear the trees speak to me, and they said, thank you for letting the endangered animals live here amongst us. We do think they're so pretty, and it would be a shame to see them go. And thank you for recycling paper, because you're saving us for just a little while longer. We've been on this planet for so long, embedded in the earth. We do have souls, you know. You can hear it in our songs. We cling with our roots. We don't want to let go. And I said, but I don't do much. I don't do enough. And they said, we don't. But we'll take what we can get. And then I woke up in a sweat. So tell me, Bob Dole. So tell me Newt Gingrich. So tell me Pat Buchanan. So tell me Jesse Helms. So tell me George W. Bush. So tell me Barack Obama. If you woke up from that dream, would you be in a sweat too? I mean, do you even know why we should save the rainforest? Oh, preserve the delicate balance. Just tear the whole forest down. What difference does it make? Just put in some orange groves so our concentrated orange juice could be a little cheaper. But did you know that medical researchers have a very, very hard time trying to come up with trying to come up with natural cures for diseases on their own? And it first helps them out if they can find that substance in nature. And a tree that appears in a rainforest with a cure may be the only one of its species, or one like it may be 2 miles away instead of right next to it. I wonder how many cures we've destroyed to plant more orange groves. Serves us right. You know, my motives aren't selfless. I know these things are worthwhile in my life. I'd like to find a cure to these diseases before I die of them. And I'm not just a vegetarian because I think it's wrong to kill an animal unless I have to. I also know the excess protein pulls calcium away from my bones and gives me osteoporosis. And the excess fat gives me heart attacks. And I also know that we could be feeding 10 times more people with the same resources used for meat production. You know, I know you're looking at me and calling me an extremist, but I'm sitting here looking around me, looking at all the destruction caused by family values, and thinking that the right, moral, non-violent decisions are also those extreme ones. Everything is linked here. We destroy our animals so we can be wasteful and violent. We destroy our plants, we destroy our earth. We're even destroying our air. We wreak havoc on the soil, on the atmosphere. We dump our wastes into our lakes. We pump aerosol cans and exhaust pipes. And you tell me I'm extreme. emotions keep calling out to me. The oceans, the forests, the wind. And I'm beginning to think that we just keep doing it because we don't know how to stop. And deep inside we feel the pain of all that we've killed. And we try to control it by having a chemical-filled painkiller. Or we live through the guilt by taking caffeine, nicotine, morphine, and we keep ourselves thin with saccharin, and we keep ourselves sane with our alcohol poisoning. Then when that's not enough, maybe a line of coke. Or maybe shoot ourselves in the head in front of the mirror in the master bedroom. Or maybe just take some pills, walk into the garage, turn on the car, and just fall asleep. In the wild, you have no power over anyone else. Now that we're civilized, we create our own wild. Maybe when we have all this power, the only choice we have is to